The stars had always been a place of pride for the Tyrellians. For centuries they had sailed through the galaxy, building colonies, exploring new worlds, and trading with countless civilizations. Their cities on Kalar glowed like jewels under the twin moons, and their fleets were admired and feared across many systems. But all that pride had turned to dust. It began with accusations. The Galactic Union claimed that the Tyrellians had destroyed colonies and spread deadly diseases on distant planets. The proof was thin, the witnesses uncertain, but the accusations spread quickly. Other races, once allies of the Tyrellians, turned their backs. The Tyrellians protested, showing logs and records of peaceful trade and careful work, but no one would listen. The Union voted. The decision was final. The Tyrellians were to be banished. They were no longer welcome in any known system. Their fleets were stripped of weapons, their colonies abandoned or erased from maps, and their leaders marked as exiles. It was a humiliation that cut deep into the hearts of the proud species. Captain Elara Voss stood on the bridge of the Silver Wind, one of the last remaining ships of the Tyrellian fleet. Her long silver hair flowed in the air currents of the ship. Her eyes, dark and sharp, scanned the holographic display of nearby stars. Her people, hundreds of them, were cramped in the hold, weary and frightened. "We cannot give up," she said to herself. Her voice was steady, though the weight of responsibility pressed on her shoulders. She knew the galaxy had closed its doors to them. Every known world would reject their plea. Hunger and despair were slowly creeping into her people's hearts. "We can try one last place," she said aloud, turning to her first officer, a young Tyrellian named Kellen. "There is a world beyond the map, a small blue planet on the edge of the system. Humans call it Earth. I do not know if they will accept us, but we have no choice." Kellen nodded, understanding. The Tyrellians had been forced to leave everything behind, and this tiny planet, unknown and distant, might be their only hope. The journey was long and quiet. The ship traveled through dark voids where no star shone bright. The Tyrellians were too exhausted to speak much, and the hum of the engines filled the silence. Food and water were carefully rationed. Children slept on makeshift beds, and the elderly whispered prayers to the stars, hoping for mercy. When the planet finally appeared, glowing with blue and green beneath swirling clouds, a quiet hope filled the hold. Elara stood at the bridge and looked at it with awe. Even after centuries of travel, she had never seen anything like this. It was alive, full of oceans and mountains and strange lights from cities that glimmered like stars on its surface. But hope was fragile. She knew nothing about these humans, and she did not know if they would welcome strangers. Some of her people whispered fearfully. "What if they attack us?" a woman asked quietly. "What if they see us as enemies?" Elara turned to her. "We are survivors," she said firmly. "We ask for nothing but shelter. We do not fight unless we are forced. Humanity may be small, but they may see the heart in us that others refuse to see." The ship descended through the planet's atmosphere slowly. The engines hissed as heat burned against the outer hull. Forests and deserts stretched below, and finally the ship landed in a wide, empty area in the Nevada desert. It was far from cities, far from the eyes of humans at first. The ground trembled slightly under the weight of the ship. Inside, the Tyrellians held their breath. Children peeked from corners, and the adults whispered quietly. They were strangers in a strange world, and they knew the first moments would be the most dangerous. On Earth, Commander Ryan Cole was monitoring satellites from a small lunar outpost. The moment the alien ship entered the planet's orbit, alarms rang. It was unlike any craft Earth had ever seen, sleek silver with no recognizable markings. It moved not like human ships, but like a living thing. "Commander Cole," a technician said, pointing at the monitor, "we have an unidentified vessel entering near Earth. It's large, and it is slowing down toward the desert southwest." Ryan frowned. He had spent years studying possible extraterrestrial life, but he had never expected to see it arrive like this. He ordered all systems to track the craft. Earth Command was alerted. Soon, scientists and military personnel were analyzing the situation. When the Silver Wind touched down in Nevada, a column of dust rose into the air. Local residents called in strange sightings. Military vehicles approached carefully, guns ready, but what they found shocked them. The doors of the alien ship opened slowly. Weak and worn, the Tyrellians stepped out. They did not carry weapons. Their hands were empty and their eyes were full of fear. Some of the children clung to their parents. Some elders moved slowly, leaning on canes. They were refugees, not invaders. Ryan and a small team were the first humans to reach them. He raised his hands slowly, showing they meant no harm. "We are not here to hurt you," he said in English, though he had no way of knowing if they understood. Elara stepped forward. Her voice was calm but strong. She raised a small holographic display, showing images of destroyed ships, burned colonies, and pleading Tyrellians. Slowly, the humans understood. They were looking at beings who had been cast out of their own galaxy, seeking a home. Communication was difficult. Their language was strange, full of clicks and long vowels. But with gestures, drawings, and repeated attempts, Dr. Laura Bennett, a linguist assigned to the case, began to translate some words. They spoke of exile, of hunger, of hope. They asked only for safety. The world outside the desert watched through news feeds and live streams. Some people were afraid. Governments debated whether to contain the aliens. Others were moved. Ordinary people from homes across the planet began sending messages of hope and support. Food, water, and clothing appeared at military checkpoints. In the secure area where the Tyrellians were placed, Elara walked among her people. The refugees were tired, their bodies worn by months of travel and rejection. Mothers whispered to their children, trying to keep them calm. Elderly Tyrellians prayed quietly to the stars, thanking them for giving this chance, even if it was small. "We must earn their trust," Elara told Kellen quietly. "We cannot demand it. We can only show them we mean no harm and that we are worthy of help." Kellen nodded. He watched as humans approached, offering food and blankets. Some of the soldiers were cautious, keeping their distance. But the human kindness, small as it was, gave hope. Ryan Cole met with Elara again. "You are not our enemy," he said sincerely. "The galaxy may have turned against you, but we are still capable of choosing compassion. If you survive here, it will not be by hiding. It will be by proving who you are." Elara smiled faintly. For the first time in months, she felt a lightness she had not known. "We will do what we must," she said. "We will show humanity that we are more than the galaxy believes. And perhaps in turn they will show the galaxy what it means to be truly human." As night fell over the desert, the Tyrellians looked up at the stars above. The vast galaxy that had rejected them stretched endlessly, cold and distant. But below, this small blue planet offered a new beginning. The winds whispered promises of survival, and in the hearts of the outcasts, hope began to grow. They were alone, far from home. But for the first time, they felt safe. Humanity had welcomed them, not with weapons, not with judgment, but with hands extended in friendship. And for the Tyrellians, that small act of kindness would change everything. Elara looked at the horizon, the alien sky reflecting on her silver eyes. The journey ahead would be long and challenges would come. But this planet, strange, small, and fragile, might be the place where the Tyrellians could finally belong. The stars above no longer seemed so cold. The Tyrellians had landed, and for the first time in months they could breathe without fear. Yet safety was fragile. They were strangers in a strange world, surrounded by humans who watched them with curiosity, suspicion, and sometimes fear. Commander Ryan Cole and Dr. Laura Bennett worked tirelessly to communicate with them. The aliens' language was unlike anything humans had studied before. It was full of long, flowing sounds and sharp clicks. At first, no one understood anything. But with patience, Laura developed a basic system of translation using symbols, gestures, and a few repeated words. Elara Voss, the Tyrellian leader, was careful and deliberate. She answered every question with honesty. She did not exaggerate, and she did not hide her people's fear. She spoke of the exile, of the galaxy that had turned against them, and of the countless worlds that refused them shelter. Ryan listened closely. "They are telling the truth," he said to Laura one evening. "Their fear is real, and they are not armed. If anything, they are weaker than we are. They have no reason to attack us." Meanwhile, the world outside the desert was reacting in many ways. News networks were filled with footage of alien children wandering the makeshift camp, of elders studying Earth stars, and of humans cautiously offering water and food. Some people were afraid. Fear spread quickly. Could these beings be dangerous? Could they bring disease or war? Governments debated what to do. Yet ordinary people saw something different. They saw tired, scared refugees asking only for safety. Social media erupted with messages of hope and support. Volunteers sent supplies, blankets, and messages of welcome. Slowly, a wave of human compassion began to form. Within the camp, life started to take shape. The Tyrellians were given basic accommodations. They were weak, malnourished, and exhausted, but slowly they began to recover. Children ran in the desert, laughing for the first time in months. Adults shared stories of their lost homes, of cities burned and fleets destroyed. Every story was a reminder of what they had lost, but also of what they hoped to gain on Earth. Alara gathered her leaders in a quiet tent one night. "We are safe for now," she said, "but safety alone will not keep us here. We must show them we mean no harm. We must help them see our value, our skill, and our heart." Kellen, her first officer, nodded. "We can share knowledge, some of our medical techniques, some of our ways to purify water. Nothing dangerous, nothing that could harm them. Just what can help." Over the next weeks, the Tyrellians began working with human scientists. They showed simple ways to clean water more efficiently, methods to grow crops faster in harsh conditions, and ways to generate energy using solar arrays more effectively. The humans were amazed. They had no idea these strangers could offer so much, and yet they did it without asking for anything in return. Dr. Laura Bennett spent long hours with Alara and her team, learning their language, culture, and history. She found that despite their pride and long history as a powerful civilization, the Tyrellians were deeply humble now. "They have been broken," she said to Ryan one afternoon, "but in their brokenness, they have a purity. They are not looking to conquer. They are looking to belong." Ryan nodded. "And they have found it here. Humanity may be small in the galaxy, but this is exactly what makes us human. We give, even when the risk is unknown." Not all humans agreed. Some officials wanted the Tyrellians to be contained, studied, and perhaps returned to the galaxy under guard. They worried that harboring exiles could bring war to Earth. Others argued that compassion was stronger than fear. President Daniels spoke during a press conference. "We have a choice," she said. "We can close our doors and hide from the universe, or we can extend our hand to those in need. Humanity has always been strongest when we act with courage and compassion. Today we choose to help those who have nowhere else to turn." The words resonated with the people. Donations increased. Volunteers arrived at the camp. Children painted murals for the Tyrellians. Adults built shelters, prepared food, and created spaces for learning. Humanity was welcoming these exiles not out of strategy, but because it was the right thing to do. For the Tyrellians, the experience was new and humbling. They had been proud, conquerors once, feared and respected across the galaxy. Now they were receiving kindness from a species they had once considered insignificant. Some whispered in disbelief. "Why are they helping us? They are so small, so fragile. Why do they care?" Alara answered softly. "Because they understand what it means to be alone. They have felt fear, and they have chosen hope. That is why humanity is different. That is why they will survive." Weeks passed, and slowly, the Tyrellians began to integrate into the desert community. They learned human ways, how to cook with Earth ingredients, how to wear human clothing, and how to use basic tools. Humans in turn learned from them. Simple lessons in medicine, agriculture, and science flowed from alien to human. Ryan observed the changes with quiet pride. He walked through the camp one evening and saw a small group of children playing together. Human children and Tyrellian children ran, laughed, and shouted without fear. Mothers and fathers from both species shared stories around small fires. The Tyrellians were no longer strangers. They were becoming part of the world. Yet in the background, tension began to stir. The Galactic Union had not forgotten them. From distant systems, reports came of ships moving through space, searching for the exiles. Some were sent as observers, some as threats. Ryan and the humans had no idea when the galaxy might respond. Alara was aware of it too. She gathered her leaders in a quiet tent one night. "We are safe here for now," she said, "but the galaxy will not leave us alone. They will come. And when they do, we must be ready." Kellen frowned. Are we strong enough? We are weak, and Earth is untested. They may destroy everything here. Ilara shook her head. Strength is not only in power. It is in courage. It is in hope. Earth has given us a chance, and together, we will find a way to survive. We must teach them that even the smallest beings can protect what they love. The bond between humans and Tyrellians deepened. Ryan and Laura worked with the aliens to create communication networks, emergency plans, and shared resources. They trained in desert survival, learned Earth customs, and began building defenses, not weapons to attack but systems to warn and protect. For the first time in months, the Tyrellians could sleep without fear, they could eat without hunger, they could laugh and play, and they could dream, not of revenge, not of power, but of home. The human media began to change its tone. Stories of fear turned into stories of hope. Commentators spoke of humanity's courage in sheltering the exiles. Citizens celebrated simple acts of kindness. Across the planet, people looked at the sky differently, imagining the distant travelers they had helped. One evening, Ryan and Laura stood on a small hill overlooking the camp. Fires burned below, casting warm light on human and alien faces. Children ran, humans and Tyrellians playing together. Adults worked side by side, learning and teaching. They are different from us, Laura said softly, but not in the way we feared. They are like us, only older, wiser and more broken, and we are helping them heal. Ryan nodded. We are learning too. Sometimes strength is not in power or technology. Sometimes it is in choosing to help when fear tells us not to. That is what makes humans special. Ilara watched the same scene from her tent. Her heart was full. Humanity had given them more than food or shelter. They had given them hope. And in that hope, the Tyrellians began to see a future. One where they could live, learn, and perhaps even belong. But the galaxy was not silent. Reports of ships moving through the void reached Ryan's outpost. He knew the day would come when the Union would demand the Tyrellians' return. The question was not if, but when. For now, Earth was a sanctuary. And in that sanctuary, humans and Tyrellians began to teach each other the meaning of courage, trust, and hope. The bond was fragile, but it was real. It was the start of something new, something that could change both species forever. Night fell over the desert. Stars blinked in the clear sky. The Tyrellians looked up at the same universe that had rejected them. But this time, they were not alone. Humanity had welcomed them. And for the first time, they felt that maybe, just maybe, they had found a home. The Tyrellians were settling into life on Earth. Children ran through the desert camps laughing with human children, while adults worked alongside scientists and engineers, sharing knowledge and learning Earth's ways. For the first time in months, they felt some comfort. Yet a shadow loomed on the edge of the universe. Reports from distant satellites reached Ryan Cole at the lunar outpost. Ships were moving through deep space, massive, gray, and armed. The Galactic Union had discovered the Tyrellians on Earth. Observers and patrols had seen their signals and traced them to the blue planet. The Union had sent envoys to demand the return of the exiles. Ryan called a meeting with Dr. Laura Bennett, President Daniels, and several military leaders. They know we have the Tyrellians here, he said. They are coming. They may demand their surrender, or worse, Laura frowned. Do they understand Earth's limitations? We are not a major power in the galaxy. We barely have orbital defenses. They could destroy us if they wanted. President Daniels nodded, though her face remained calm. We have two choices: surrender the Tyrellians or stand with them. I will not send them back to death or exile. Humanity has always stood for what is right, not what is easy. Meanwhile, in the desert camp, Ilara gathered her leaders. They will come, she said. We cannot hide. But we are not here to fight. We are here to live. And if they challenge Earth, we must help our hosts protect what is theirs. Kellen looked uneasy. But they are powerful. Our weapons were dismantled. Even together, can humans defend themselves against them? Ilara placed a hand on his shoulder. Strength is not only in weapons. It is in courage and ingenuity and will. Humans have shown that. They chose to help us when no one else would. That is a kind of power that cannot be ignored. The first Union ship appeared on Earth's edge several days later. It hung in orbit like a dark sentinel, massive and metallic. It blocked the sun for a brief moment, casting shadows over cities below. Earth watched in awe and fear. The Union sent a message. It was formal, cold, and commanding. Return the Tyrellians to us. They are exiles and have no claim to sanctuary. Failure to comply will be considered an act of hostility. The United Nations convened immediately. Governments argued. Some urged compliance, fearing the wrath of the galaxy. Others, inspired by the Tyrellian story and Earth's own values, demanded defiance. President Daniel spoke again. Earth does not act out of fear. We act out of principle. These beings are refugees, not criminals. We will not hand them over. If the galaxy wishes to test us, we will face it together. Back at the desert camp, the Tyrellians listened to the message. Fear flickered in their eyes. They had fled the galaxy because of false accusations and power. The idea of facing the Union again was terrifying. But there was also trust. Trust in these humans who had given them a home. Ryan worked with Alara to strengthen Earth's defenses. They began by mapping Union ship capabilities, predicting attack patterns, and preparing early warning systems. Though Earth's technology was primitive compared to the Union, the humans' creativity and persistence made a difference. Alara and her people shared knowledge of orbital defense strategies, adapted for Earth. They showed ways to redirect satellites, use terrain for camouflage, and anticipate enemy movements. It was not enough to fight head-on, but it gave Earth a fighting chance. The media buzzed with tension. People across the globe watched as Earth prepared for possible conflict. Some feared war. Others believed humanity could stand with courage. Volunteers offered support to the camp. Supplies, engineering help, and even homemade defenses arrived in the desert. Humanity was ready. Not just to protect the Tyrellians, but to protect what they had chosen to defend: compassion and justice. Late one night, Ryan and Laura stood on a ridge overlooking the camp. The desert was quiet, stars scattered across the sky. "Do you think we can really stop them?" Laura asked. Ryan shook his head. "Not by power alone, but by courage, by cleverness, by refusing to back down. Humans may be small, but we are strong in ways the galaxy does not understand." Alara joined them, her silver eyes reflecting the stars. "I have seen your courage," she said. "You welcomed the weak when no one else would. That is why we trust you. And that is why the galaxy may underestimate you. They will learn soon enough." The first Union envoy arrived in orbit a week later. Their ship was enormous, casting a shadow over the Earth's surface. A video transmission played across every screen. The Union commander's voice was firm. "You have one chance," he said. "Surrender the Tyrellians or we will take them by force." "You cannot defend this planet against our fleet," President Daniels responded calmly. "We will not surrender what we know is right. Humanity stands with those who need help. We will defend them, not out of desire for war, but out of duty to what is just." The Union commander's eyes narrowed. "Then you leave us no choice." The transmission ended. Panic could have spread across Earth, but instead something remarkable happened. People organized. Engineers worked to improve satellites. Scientists calculated trajectories. Civilians volunteered to monitor communications and offer logistical support. Humanity was uniting not through fear but through action and courage. The Tyrellians also played their part. They began teaching humans how to make defenses without breaking Earth's fragile systems. They shared techniques in stealth, early detection, and rapid response. Though they could not bring weapons, their knowledge of strategy and survival was invaluable. In the desert camp, Alara met with her people. "We will not fight to conquer," she said. "We will fight to protect life. That is different from the galaxy's way. That is the strength of humanity. Stand with them, and you stand with hope itself." Kellen nodded. "We will do as you say. Humanity gave us a chance when no one else would. We will not fail them." Days passed. The Union fleet moved closer. Ryan and Alara worked tirelessly, coordinating humans and Tyrellians, preparing for any possible scenario. Laura translated instructions, organized communications, and helped manage resources. Every human soldier and volunteer trained for rapid response. Every child, parent, and elder in the camp understood the importance of unity. Then the first skirmish occurred, not with massive fleets, but with reconnaissance drones sent by the Union. They entered Earth's orbit, scanning, testing. Humans and Tyrellians responded together. Satellites were shifted, drones detected and disabled with coordinated signals, and for the first time Earth proved it could act as one. Alara watched with pride. The humans were not superpowered or armed like the Union, but they were resourceful, brave, and persistent. It reminded her why she had chosen this world. This small, fragile planet might not be the strongest in the galaxy, but it had a heart that would not bend under fear. Ryan turned to Laura. They think Earth is weak, but they do not understand us. They do not understand that sometimes courage and willpower are stronger than any weapon. Laura smiled softly. Maybe they will learn soon enough. The Union fleet stopped short of Earth's surface, observing. A tense silence hung in orbit. Neither side moved. Ryan, Laura, and Alara knew the real test was coming. Humanity had chosen to protect the exiles, and the Tyrellians had chosen to help humanity. Now the galaxy would test their resolve. Night fell over the desert. Fires burned in the camp. Human and Tyrellian children slept peacefully. Adults worked late into the night, preparing, learning, and planning. And above them, the stars sparkled as if watching silently, waiting to see what would happen next. Alara stood alone for a moment, looking at the sky. She remembered the countless worlds that had rejected her people, the fleets that had turned away, the planets that had said they had no place, and now, for the first time in months, she felt something she had not felt in a long time. Hope. Humanity had welcomed them. Humanity had given them a chance, and now, whatever the galaxy tried to take, they would face it together. The stars above did not seem so cold anymore. The Galactic Union fleet hung over Earth like a dark shadow. Ships as large as mountains floated silently above the atmosphere, their metal glinting in the sun. The message from the Union commander had been clear: surrender the Tyrellians or face destruction. But Earth would not back down. People across the planet watched as governments and scientists worked tirelessly. Satellites shifted, early warning systems were tested, and teams of engineers prepared communication networks and emergency plans. The Tyrellians had shared knowledge of orbital defense, and humans were learning fast. In the desert camp, Alara gathered her people. "We are not here to fight for power," she said, her voice calm but firm. "We are here to protect life. We must act with courage, not anger. The humans have welcomed us, and we will stand with them. That is strength the galaxy cannot take from us." Kellen nodded. "We will follow your lead. We have learned from them. Together we are stronger than the sum of our parts." Commander Ryan Cole and Dr. Laura Bennett worked at the command center, coordinating humans and Tyrellians. They monitored Union ships, predicted movements, and planned every possible response. Ryan spoke to the team, his voice steady. "We are outmatched in technology, but not in will. They may have bigger ships, but they do not understand what it means to fight for hope." The first attack came in the form of drones. Small, fast machines, they approached Earth's orbit, scanning, analyzing, and testing human defenses. Ryan's team used satellites and signals to detect them. Tyrellians helped guide drones into traps without damaging Earth's fragile satellites. Laura watched the screens, her heart racing. "They are testing us. Every movement is calculated. But we can counter them." The drones struck, but Earth was ready. Communication satellites relayed signals that disrupted their targeting systems. Earth's forces, human and Tyrellian together, disabled most drones before they reached the surface. It was a small victory, but it gave hope. Alara walked among the humans in the command center. "You are brave," she said. "I have seen fleets across the galaxy, but I have never seen determination like this. You fight not for glory, but for what is right." Ryan smiled. "That is what makes humans different. We are not the strongest, but we are willing to stand when others would run." The Union commander sent a warning. "This is your last chance. Stand down, or we will escalate. We can destroy cities, fleets, and lives." "You cannot resist," President Daniels responded calmly. "We will not surrender those who have nowhere else to go. Humanity acts with courage, not fear. If you wish to test us, you will find that we are not weak." Tension grew. The Union fleet deployed larger ships, moving into low orbit around Earth. Civilian satellites were moved aside, communications relayed through hardened networks. The desert camp became a command hub, with humans and Tyrellians working side by side. Alara's people shared techniques to monitor Union ships without detection. They taught humans how to anticipate movements, redirect signals, and create decoys. Though Earth could not match the fleet in firepower, their coordination and creativity gave them an edge. Ryan studied the fleet. They think size and weapons mean victory, he said. But they do not know our will, our unity, or what we fight for. Laura nodded. It is not just technology that wins battles. It is courage, trust, and hope. The first direct confrontation came unexpectedly. A Union battleship sent energy probes toward the desert camp. The probes were small but fast, capable of causing serious damage. Humans scrambled to redirect satellites to intercept them, while Tyrellians used signals to confuse the targeting systems. The probes were deflected, crashing harmlessly in the desert. Cheers rose from the camp. For the first time, Earth had successfully defended itself against a direct attack. Alara watched the scene, pride shining in her eyes. They will not break us, she said. Even the galaxy itself cannot take away what is right. We fight not to destroy but to protect life and hope. Days turned into tense weeks. The Union fleet remained in orbit, testing Earth, sending threats, and occasionally launching small probes. Each time, humans and Tyrellians worked together, anticipating, learning, and countering. The planet was alive with preparation, communication, and unity. Ryan trained teams of volunteers to monitor satellites, relay warnings, and respond to threats. Laura translated Tyrellian instructions and organized emergency systems. Every person had a role and every effort mattered. Even civilians became part of the effort. Engineers helped build backup power systems. Scientists worked day and night to adapt Tyrellian techniques for Earth. Families prepared shelters. Medical teams trained, and the world slowly became a fortress, not of weapons, but of courage, creativity, and will. Alara walked through the camp at night. Seeing humans and Tyrellians side by side, children played quietly under watchful eyes. Adults prepared defenses and supplies. The bond between the two species had grown strong. They trusted each other, and that trust would be their greatest strength. One evening, Ryan and Alara stood together on a ridge overlooking the camp. Do you think we can hold them? Ryan asked, watching the distant ships glitter in the sky. Alara shook her head. We cannot match them in strength, but we can match them in courage. And courage is stronger than fear. That is why we are here. That is why we will survive. The final test came when a Union ship deployed a small attack squad. They aimed for the desert camp itself, attempting to intimidate Earth and the Tyrellians. Humans and Tyrellians sprang into action. Communication satellites relayed warnings, drones were redirected to intercept, and early detection systems allowed teams to prepare. The attack struck, but it was met with coordinated defense. Tyrellian knowledge guided human systems. Probes were deflected, signals disrupted, and the attackers forced to retreat. For the first time, the Union fleet experienced resistance it had not expected. From orbit, the Union commander watched in surprise. Earth was holding its own. Humans and aliens were not panicking or fleeing. They were working together, clever, brave, and unyielding. The commander could not understand how this small planet could resist a fleet so vast. Back on the ground, Ryan and Laura monitored the situation. They are stronger than they think, Ryan said. Not in size or weapons, but in will. They will not surrender. Alara stood among her people. You see what humanity can do, she said. They are small, fragile, but they will protect what is right. That is why we are here, and that is why the galaxy must learn to respect them. The battle in orbit continued with small skirmishes, but Earth held. The Union fleet realized that destroying the planet or the camp would require more than force. Humans were clever, persistent, and fearless. The Tyrellians had shown them techniques, but the courage came from within. For the first time, the Union commander paused. He watched as humanity and Tyrellians worked together, defending life instead of seeking conquest. He began to understand what the galaxy had underestimated. Humans were different. They were not the strongest or the most advanced, but they had something no fleet or weapon could defeat: their heart. As night fell over the desert, fires burned in the camp. Children slept safely. Adults worked quietly, preparing, learning, and watching. And above them, the stars blinked silently, witnessing the courage of a small planet that refused to bow. Alara looked at Ryan and Laura. This is only the beginning, she said. But it is enough to show the galaxy that hope cannot be crushed. Courage cannot be defeated. And humanity. Humanity is unlike anything I have ever seen. Ryan smiled. They thought fear would make us surrender. But it only made us stronger. Laura nodded. We are learning that being human is not about power. It is about standing up when the odds are against you. That is what makes us strong. The Union fleet remained above, silent for now. The battle had not ended, but the first test had shown Earth's true strength. Humans had stood together, aided by the Tyrellians, and had proven that courage, unity, and hope could stand against even the mightiest fleet. And somewhere deep in the stars, other civilizations began to take notice. The weeks of tension in Earth's orbit finally began to ease. The Galactic Union fleet remained near the planet, observing silently, but the constant probes and attacks had stopped. The Union commander had seen what humans were capable of. They were not the strongest in technology or numbers, but they were united, clever, and unafraid. Humanity had earned a respect that no alien race had expected. On the desert camp, life had slowly returned to a careful normal. Children played in the sand, learning from both humans and Tyrellians. Adults worked together, exchanging knowledge, ideas, and stories. The bond between the two species had grown strong. Trust had been built not in words alone, but in shared effort, courage, and survival. Alara Voss stood at the edge of the camp one morning, watching the sun rise over the desert mountains. She thought about the long journey that had brought her people here, the rejection, the exile, and the fear that had haunted them across the stars. And now finally they had found a place where they were not treated as criminals but as people. Humanity had given them hope. Ryan Cole approached her, carrying a small cup of water. "You have done well," he said simply. "Your people have helped us as much as we have helped you." Alara shook her head. "It is your courage that made the difference. Your people chose to stand with the weak when every other world turned away. That is why we are here. That is why we survived." Dr. Laura Bennett joined them, smiling softly. "The galaxy may not see it yet," she said, "but Earth has made its mark. We have shown that compassion is more powerful than fear, and courage stronger than force." The news came soon after. The Galactic Union Council had convened. Leaders from many worlds debated the situation, discussing Earth's defiance and the humans' unexpected strength. The Union commander who had overseen the fleet reported that Earth had defended itself without advanced weapons, using only ingenuity, cooperation, and moral courage. After long discussions, the Council made an unprecedented decision. The Tyrellians' banishment was lifted. They were free to travel, settle, or remain on any world they chose. Many of them would remain on Earth, integrating further into human society and helping to advance technology, medicine, and understanding. Others would continue their journeys into space, but now with allies and friends rather than enemies. When the news was announced to the Tyrellians, cheers erupted in the desert camp. Children ran and hugged each other, laughing. Adults held hands, tears in their eyes. For the first time in years, the Tyrellians felt true relief and freedom. Alara called a meeting with the leaders of her people. "We are no longer exiles," she said. "We are free. But remember, our survival here is not just because of our strength. It is because of humanity." They welcomed us even when it was dangerous. They taught us that courage and compassion are the greatest powers in the galaxy. We owe them everything. Kellen, standing beside her, nodded. "We will stay loyal. We will protect this planet just as they protected us. And together we will show the galaxy that strength is not only in fleets and weapons, but in heart and unity." President Daniels visited the desert camp soon after, accompanied by scientists, engineers, and members of the United Nations. She met with Alara and her people, and together they discussed plans for the future. Schools would be built for Tyrellian children, hospitals would include alien medical knowledge, and joint research centers would develop new technologies for the benefit of both species. Ryan and Laura were busy organizing the integration efforts. They worked with Tyrellian engineers to adapt their knowledge to Earth systems, sharing energy solutions, medical treatments, and agricultural techniques. Both humans and Tyrellians learned from each other, growing stronger and wiser together. The first joint school opened in the desert. Human and Tyrellian children learned together, sharing lessons about their respective worlds. History classes included both Earth story and Tyrellia's history, and science lessons combined technology from both planets. The students were fascinated by each other's cultures and languages. Friendships formed naturally, proving that the bonds of childhood were stronger than fear or prejudice. The media reported widely on Earth's actions, and the story spread across the galaxy. Humans were no longer considered insignificant. Other worlds watched carefully. learning that compassion, courage, and unity were powerful forces. Earth's reputation began to change. It was no longer a small, fragile planet. It was a refuge, a place where even the outcasts could find safety. Ilara and her people decided that many Tyrellians would remain on Earth permanently. They helped rebuild towns, assisted in scientific research, and worked with humans to prepare for future threats from the galaxy. Some joined Earth's growing space program, using their knowledge to improve spacecraft and exploration technology. Ryan reflected on the events that had unfolded. From the first moment the Tyrellians landed, he had seen fear, hope, and determination. Humanity had faced the galaxy's challenge not with weapons, but with courage and moral strength. We may not have the largest fleets, he thought, but we have something more important: the willingness to protect what is right, no matter the cost. Laura joined him at the command center, watching Tyrellians and humans working together. "We have proven ourselves," she said softly. "We have shown the universe that humanity is not defined by power alone, but by heart, by courage, and by compassion." Ilara approached them, her expression calm but proud. "Your species has taught us a lesson too," she said. "You showed us that even when we are weak and alone, someone can see our value. You taught us that hope can survive in the darkest times. That is something we will carry into the future." The Galactic Union had not disappeared. Its fleets and representatives still watched the stars, but now they approached Earth with caution. They had seen humans defend themselves, protect others, and act with courage beyond what they expected. The galaxy would not forget Earth, nor the small planet's decision to welcome the exiles. Over time, Tyrellians and humans began to explore the stars together. Joint missions were launched, combining knowledge and technology from both worlds. Scientists, engineers, and explorers worked side by side, learning and discovering. Earth's small fleet grew stronger, not in weapons, but in skill and strategy. And the Tyrellians, once outcasts, became ambassadors of peace and cooperation. In the desert camp, celebrations were held to honor the new beginning. Fires burned, music played, and stories were shared. Children ran freely, adults laughed, and for the first time fear was replaced by joy. Humans and Tyrellians had proven that together, they could face any challenge. Ilara stood on a small hill, watching the celebrations. She thought of the countless worlds that had turned her people away, of the dark journeys through space, and of the uncertainty they had faced. And now, for the first time, she felt a deep sense of peace. Humanity had given her people more than safety. They had given them hope, friendship, and a chance to belong. Ryan and Laura joined her, smiling as they watched children play. "You have done well," Ryan said. "We could not have reached this moment without each other." Laura nodded. "It is the start of something bigger. The galaxy may challenge us again, but we have shown what humanity can do. We protect life even when it is difficult. We stand for what is right, and that makes all the difference." Ilara looked at the stars above. "We were cast out by the galaxy," she said softly. "But we found a home here. Humanity welcomed us when no one else would, and in return we will help protect this world and help it grow stronger. That is a promise." The desert wind blew gently across the camp. Fires flickered and shadows danced. Children laughed, adults talked, and humans and Tyrellians looked to the stars together. The galaxy had tested them, but Earth had proven itself. Courage, compassion, and unity had won the day. As night settled over the planet, the Tyrellians and humans gazed upward. The stars sparkled, vast and endless, but for the first time the universe seemed not so cold. There was hope. There was friendship. There was home. Ilara smiled. "We are free," she said, "and together we will shape the future. Humanity has shown the galaxy what it means to be truly strong, not through power but through heart. That is something no one can ever take away." Ryan, Laura, and Ilara stood silently watching the stars. Earth had welcomed the outcasts. Humanity had faced the galaxy's challenge, and the universe for the first time saw a small blue planet not as weak or insignificant, but as a beacon of hope, courage, and compassion. The Tyrellians were home, and humanity had proven once again that even the smallest and most fragile species could shine brighter than any star.